He's kinda cheap and people think he's a freak. It's the Frugal Freak Podcast. I'm Bradley and welcome to the Frugal Freak Podcast, where I am considered a freak in society because oh my god, we're just gonna keep going. I would rather save my money than spend it. I would rather see the hard work that I put into my bank account rather than boo-boos. And I think overconsumption is stupid and most people are brainwashed into consumerism, and then they spend money that they should be saving and then they wonder why they can never be financially stable. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast, or welcome back to the Frugal Freak Podcast. We hit 10,000 Budget Baddies. Oh my god. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and showing your love. I am so grateful for you guys. I really appreciate it. Also, you probably sat through an ad at the beginning of this video. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know the ads are kind of annoying, but I really appreciate it because now we're monetized, which is so exciting. After me trying to make it happen for months, when I did qualify to be monetized, but I kept getting rejected and I didn't know why. So anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much. I can't believe there's 10,000 of us. I love that on TikTok, I have 1.2 million people supporting me over there, but I'm so excited to have 10,000 of you here because I know I've said this so many times, but you guys know, my heart started with YouTube. My whole obsession with internet life happened with YouTube when I was in high school. And I know high school me wouldn't believe having 10,000 subscribers on here. So I'm just so excited. So thank you guys so much. And thanks for liking the videos and leaving your comments. Oh my God, I know this is TMI and I shouldn't be admitting this, but sometimes I get lonely and I get really excited when I see a notification that one of you commented on here. So thank you for your comments. It makes me feel less alone in those times where I feel lonely. And I just appreciate it. So if you have made a financial mistake in your life, raise your hand. Because I have, and everyone has. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about making financial mistakes and how to move forward from making those financial mistakes. So I feel like today's episode is going to be a good one. I feel like it's going to be really helpful, which is the type of content I like to make. So grab a snack, get ready, and enjoy today's episode. You'll notice I am in another house again. I know last episode I filmed at someone's house because I was dog sitting, and now today I am dog sitting. I know, always booked and busy. If you watch me on TikTok, you know I'm always working or doing something. So I was actually really excited to film today's podcast episode in this room because it just feels so cute and charming. So I decided to film today's episode in this super cute little charming room. I love it so much. I always forget to mention this at the beginning of my videos, but make sure you watch in HD because I compress the videos, or whatever the terminology is, in good quality HD, but I think sometimes YouTube may set the video to a lower quality, or your internet may not be able to handle it. I've been there, done that. So anyways, I just always want to remind you guys that you could watch this in good HD quality, and you can, honestly, it's probably a bad thing because you would probably see my hair thinning and my bald patches. So maybe don't watch in HD, but if you want to, you can. Not me with my handy dandy list of things that I'm going to talk about in today's episode. I'm such a bad podcaster, but I'm just me, okay? I'm just me, and I'm just producing the content I want to produce. So I'm keeping it real, no podcast studios or anything like that. But we should probably make a whole episode about me losing my hair because that's actually something I have struggled with so unbelievably bad in the past year. I would say it's bad. I want to bow my head so you could see how bad it is. But when I edit my TikTok content and I see it, I just want to crawl inside myself. It's actually so traumatizing to lose your hair. If you are going through it, I don't know what to say, but you probably know. And so many people are just oh, embrace it or just shave your head. Shut up! Okay, I love my hair. And if you guys saw photos from years ago, you'd be oh my God, that's what your hair looks like today. Because I actually used to have really nice hair. Sorry for the trauma dump so early on in the episode, but Whatever. Whatever. Okay. Oh, okay. So you guys know in my intros, I just kind of like to catch up with you and talk about some random things before we get into the topic of today's episode. So if you follow me on Instagram, which I am the Fabulous Brad, which I probably need to change. I probably should change that. But right now, and it's been my username since like 2011 when I made the account. Is that not insane? Anyways, on Instagram, I'm the Fabulous Brad. I guess I could link it in the description of the video. Whatever, as if anyone cares. I don't even like Instagram anymore, honestly. That, like, for me to post on Instagram feels like such a chore. I hate it. I hate it. Like, and especially getting older, I don't take photos of myself as much. I know this probably sounds so conceited. This wasn't even on the list of things to talk about, which is what I love about this podcast is like an idea pops up and then I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. But like I used to take photos of myself all the time, not in a conceited way. Actually, it probably wasn't a conceited way, but I am like terrified to take a photo of myself at this point. I'm like, for some reason, I feel like I look really good in video. And then when I take a photo, I look like roadkill. Like what the hell is going on? Is this what happens when you're 32 and like you're starting to change? What's going on? I need one of those hair toupees so bad. I swear, if I had good thick hair, I probably would look 25. I'm not kidding. I know you guys. Okay, this intro's off the rails. I'm so sorry. But anyways, what I was about to say was, so I did a photo shoot because I reached 1 million Budget Baddies on TikTok. So I did the typical stupid influencer thing where I bought number 1 in a letter M balloon for 1 million. I know, stupid, but I paid like less than $2 a balloon. So it wasn't a expensive photo shoot by any means. And I'm trying to resell the balloons to make my money back. So don't act like I'm just going to like throw them away in the trash. Oh, I had my photo shoot for my 1 million Budget Baddies celebration, which happened like 2 months ago at this point. So I was so late. I never have time to do anything. There's always just so much going on. So I finally was able to do it. And I posted the photos to Instagram. Why am I getting emotional? Let's talk about when friendships don't work out. A friend who I had a falling out with liked the photo, and it made me so sad for so many different reasons. This was a friend who we became friends in high school, and we both were in the closet but didn't know it at the time. And once we both came out of the closet and we came out during college, and then we kind of reconnected, we became so close. Like we were close in high school, but once we both came out and like kind of became our true selves, we became best friends. Like he was my best friend. And I just felt like as we were starting to get older, there was starting to be cracks that were developing in the foundation. And like for one, his financial circumstances were 100% different from my financial circumstances. Like he had no student loan debt. He bought a house. I'm not kidding. Like bought a house at like 23 or 24 years old. And here I am at 24 years old, drowning in 6 figures of debt, making $12 an hour, dancing at a nightclub for extra money. Do you know what I mean? Like his life was so unbelievably different than mine, which I don't care about. I'm going to explain why that matters in this story, because I just felt like as time kept going on, I kept feeling like there was this bigger divide growing between us of like, I'm better than you because I have money and you don't. It could have been so in my head because I was so self-conscious and I was so insecure about being in so much debt, not making a lot of money. I just felt like there started to become this point where I felt like I became his like servant when I would go visit him. We didn't live in the same state, so I was almost always the one who would fly out to him. Of course, I would find very cheap flights. I wouldn't do it if I couldn't afford it. So I almost always flew out to him. He kind of rarely flew out to me. Not saying that was like, I mean, that was my choice, but I guess now that I'm literally sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, why didn't he ever put in the effort to like fly out to me? It always was me flying out to him. Anyways, I just started to feel like I was becoming his like servant. Like we would be sitting at a table and he'd be like, can you get that? And I don't know why my brain interpreted it as like, I'm above you, like I'm better than you, you fetch that for me. And there was just other moments that kept happening as the years went on that just made me feel like he thought he was better than me because he had money. And I didn't just not have money, I was drowning in debt. Probably a time about 4 to 5 years ago. And he did something that just showed me, like, you don't care about me. He was up here in my state because his partner was graduating, and we made plans to get together and to hang out because we hadn't seen each other in a long time. We made plans to get together in the time he was up here. The time frame for him to be here came and went, and I was like, why have I not heard from him, and why did I not see him? So I texted him. I think I texted him like the last day he was here to be like, am I going to see you? Like, are we getting together? I texted him and I didn't hear back from him for 2 days. And his response was like, oh, I'm sorry, we had to fly back home. Like, literally just like that. To a lot of you, this may feel dramatic, but to me, after what I've been feeling, but what our friendship felt like it was developing into over the past couple of years, for him to do that, to not even be like, hey, I'm sorry, we have to fly home, or we ran out of time, like, to not even communicate it and just say nothing and then take 2 days to respond to me, it was the final. It was like the final thing that broke the foundation. I'm the type of person where it's like, it hurts so much when you treat me in a way I would never treat you. After someone being my friend for like 8 or 9 years, however long we were friends, it was just the final straw where I was like, I don't feel like this friendship is what it used to be. And I don't feel like we're on the same page of how we care about each other. So anyways, I just stopped talking to him. And I was really hurting at that time in my life. If you guys know, obviously, my whole student loan story, what year was that? Was it 2020 or 2021? Like, I was getting into a better place in my life, but I still wasn't in a good place. My response to hurt people was to disappear, because I always just thought that was like the ultimate pain. Like, every ex I've had, every boyfriend I've had who's broken up with me always has wanted me to stay in their life, and I never have. Anyways, to bring this whole story to an end, I saw he liked my photo of me reaching 1 million followers on TikTok, and it like broke my heart. Oh my God, I don't want to get emotional. It crushed me for so many reasons. Because he was like one of the first, he saw who I was before all of this happened. Like, he of all people knew how bad I wanted this. He knew how bad I wanted to be like popular on the internet, and how many years I put into creating content where no one was watching, to now be in this place in my life where I have over 1 million supporters on TikTok. Oh, it was this feeling of like, oh, I wish we could have done this together. Like, I wish we could have been celebrating this accomplishment together. Like, I'm sure he's probably so proud of me because he knew how much I wanted this and how hard I always was working for this, even though it wasn't happening. Sometimes I get tempted to call him, and I don't even know if you could still be friends with someone after not talking to them for so many years, because so much time has passed and you've become just two completely different people probably over that time, that I don't know if we could ever become friends again. But sometimes I do feel like I should call him and just kind of explain what happened, because I totally left him in the dark. Because at that time in my life, that was my way of like getting back at someone or hurting them, because I wanted to hurt someone in the way I was hurting. I just wasn't in a good place in my life a while ago. So yeah, anyways, I haven't talked to anyone about this. You guys are like the only people I've talked to about this popping up. It's sad when friendships come to an end, but sometimes I feel like it's important that they come to an end. I don't think all friendships are meant to last a lifetime, but I thought it would last a lifetime with him. And I'm sorry, this wasn't expected. Like, I know this is so silly, but I always had this vision of being like the best man at his wedding. And I know that probably sounds conceited, but that's not what I mean. It's just like we became like brothers to each other. And like we went through our coming out journey together, and he went through a lot of stuff in his coming out journey, and I was there for him. And I don't know, I just always had this vision of, because he was with his partner for like 8 years or something. So I knew they were going to get married one day. Because my mom still keeps up with him, and I guess they are engaged. And I just always had this vision of like being a part of his big day, and I'm not. I think it's moments like that that really make a friendship painful. And maybe him seeing the photos of me reaching 1 million followers when he knows how much I wanted this and how bad I wanted this and how many years I put in to content creating and finally having my big break. Like maybe he felt the same way, seeing those Instagram photos and being like, oh my God, he accomplished this and I didn't get to do it with him. I didn't get to experience this with him. So clearly I needed to talk about that. So it's actually crazy. If you used to watch me on TikTok like 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would cry kind of quite a bit. I would have a good crying video every couple of months. Something was going on. I haven't cried in a while, and maybe it's just because I am in a better place. I feel happier, more content, but that's not to say my life is perfect. Like I still feel a lot of feelings, and I still carry a lot of weight of things I've gone through. Yeah, I haven't cried like that in a little while. So that was really good. So thank you guys for sitting through that with me. And maybe you connect with that too, of that feeling of loss of a friendship that you thought would be in your life forever. And then things happen and it's not. So I saw a house recently that was just so perfect for me. It was small. It was so nicely renovated. It was in a town I wanted to be in. But it was next to a gas station, which so many people were like, you made a right decision to not get that or not put in a higher offer for that house. I struggle to feel like I deserve a nice thing. And a house being one of those things. Like, yeah, maybe that house wasn't meant for me because for one, it was $270,000 for an 850 square foot home. I guess the seller's agent was like, we're getting offers for over 300,000. So if you're not going to offer around that, don't bother. Yikes. It just ended up being out of my price point, but there was like this feeling I kept feeling when I was walking through the house of I struggle to feel like I deserve something nice. And I think it honestly comes from so many years of drowning in my debt and not making a lot of money that I literally would tell myself that. Like, even though I know people will be unhappy when I say this, but this is how I felt for my life. I told myself, like, you don't deserve anything. Like, you're drowning in debt. You're not making a lot of money. So why would you go shopping? Why would you go out to eat? Why would you go do these things when you don't have money? Like, yes, you have money in your account, because obviously you guys know I was always saving my money like a madman since 2013. That was like one of the ways I saved money and didn't give in to spending money, was just like, you don't have money for that. Like, you don't deserve to do that because you're in so much debt. I think after living like that for so long and telling myself that for so long, which again, might be controversial to say, I don't regret a freaking thing. I don't regret a freaking thing. I don't regret missing out on things. I don't regret saying no to things, because every single decision I made has led me to exactly where I am today. And I couldn't be happier in the life I live today. I can't believe I'm financially stable, because I never thought that would happen in my life. So I'm not saying this in terms of regret. I think I'm just saying this because now, as a 32-year-old who has grown up, I am more financially stable than I ever thought in my lifetime I could be. I feel like the best way to describe it is I live as two people at once. I live between financially stable Bradley, who has over $300,000 of money saved, and then I live in Bradley, who was in his early 20s, drowning in six figures of debt, making $11, $12, $13 an hour with his college degree. I feel like no matter how financially stable you may become, there's always going to be that little piece of you who was struggling financially or financially traumatized that never goes away. I think there's always that little piece of you that sticks with you, because money is such a traumatizing thing, and we do not talk about that enough. That probably could be a whole other episode. And no one knows what it felt like to be me at that time. There's so few people who are in six figures of debt before they're 21 years old, how scared I was, how terrified I was, how hopeless I was, like just all the bad things. And so it's like, even though I put in so much work to create the life I have today, which is beyond anything I could have thought of or dreamt of. And I'm not saying, oh, this is just who I'm always going to be and blah, 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 because I always think it's up to ourselves to break out of the mold that we're stuck in, which is what I tell a lot of you guys, to like break out of your mindset with spending and money and think about money differently. So I'd be a hypocrite if I was like, well, this is just who I'm going to be and blah, blah, blah. But it's hard. And I acknowledge that too as a financial coach with my clients that I serve. Like, it's your mindset. And we're so wired up here that it's not easy to break out of the wiring and to rewire your brain. I acknowledge that with every person I work with. Anyways, I don't know why I'm rambling. So anyways, I don't know, just seeing that house, and I loved everything about it besides the gas station. And I just felt like when I was going on the tour of the house, I was like, I just am unsure if I'm ever going to get to that point where I'm like, this is a nice thing and you worked hard for this thing and it's okay for you to have this thing and you deserve this thing. Honestly, if anything, my convertible, if you guys watch me on TikTok, my little Pontiac convertible, my little Barbie car, I call it, that was like one of the nicest things I ever did for myself. I bought that car 6 years ago for $7,000. I got such a good freaking deal on it. That was a moment where I was like, you have saved a lot of money. You've said no to a lot of things. So when I moved back home here and I needed a car, I was like, go do it. Like, do it within reason. Don't go crazy. And I found it for $7,000 and it was like the best thing I ever did. To this day, I still love that car. Deep down, I feel like I've been struggling with buying a home because, and I know here comes an out of touch moment. So I'm putting the warning on the screen. Out of touch moment, watch out. Like any house I have looked at since I started my home buying process in January, I've had the money to buy it. Like cash money to buy it. It hasn't been the money getting in the way of me buying a house. I almost feel like deep down, I almost don't know if I just don't want a house. Like, I want a tiny house so bad. I know we've talked about this in multiple episodes. There's things getting in the way of making it happen. If I could have made it happen, I would have been in one 6 months ago. Like, absolutely. And I almost wonder if that is what my hesitation is to not move forward on any of these houses. Well, I did on that one, the story time I posted 2 episodes ago. Big mistake. I'm so glad I walked away from that one. But like, I feel like deep down, I don't want a house. And I want a tiny house. Like, if the stars could align, I would buy a tiny house for me, but I would buy a home and maybe rent it out to a friend or someone. Like, find someone in my life maybe who needs to rent a place. Because I know it's always going to be important to have a home. I just don't think I need a home. Is this weird? I don't know how to explain this to you guys. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to live in a tiny house for my whole life, but I feel like while I'm in my 30s, I'm like able to crawl up to the loft space for sleeping. So I'm like, what if I buy a tiny home now, but then maybe buy a house, or maybe hopefully if home prices fall, I could try to snag one, rent it out so I have a house as like a long-term investment, and then when it's my time to move on from the tiny home, sell the tiny home, and then I have a house. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like that's really what I want, and I keep trying to force myself to make a house happen when I think, if I'm being honest with you, I just don't think it's what I want. Because I lived in a 450 square foot apartment for the past 5.5 years, and it's been perfect for me. 450 square feet for me is perfect. It's enough. I can function fine with not much more. I wanted to talk about financial regret in today's episode and financial mistakes, because we all have one. Every single one of us, I'm sure, has done something stupid with money. You're currently doing something stupid with money. Quickly, I'll share my story, although I'm sure most of you know about it, but I went to a very expensive culinary school when I was 17 years old, had no guidance in my life, had no one teaching me about money, interest rates, loans, debt, nothing. And on top of that, the school sells itself to be the best school in the country, and if you want to be anyone in your pastry arts career, you need to go here. and other lies that they said. But so I ended up in $130,000 of student loan debt before I was 21 years old. And I hated myself for so long. I was so mad at myself for so long. I didn't even realize the mess I was making. I didn't realize that decision at the time was a bad decision. And, of course, being 17, on the verge of 18 years old, starting college, and having no one in my life, not one person, not my parents, not the high school guidance counselor, no one in my life was saying, Bradley, I don't know if going to a culinary school that's $35,000 a year is a good idea. I don't know if getting a pastry arts degree that's over $100,000 is a good idea. And I always wished I could do anything to go back in time and redo that choice, because that was the worst choice I ever made in my entire life. And there's such a heaviness that we feel when it comes to making financial mistakes. And the craziest thing, this just popped in my head, but when it comes to fixing a financial mistake, it's crazy how basically one of the only solutions is more money. And that's something I always thought about when I was drowning in my debt in my early to mid 20s, not making a lot of money. I was so overwhelmed by this feeling of like, wow, I'm in a financial disaster, and the only way you fix a financial problem is with more money. There's no other solution to it than needing more money. When I was making $12, $13 an hour and half of my income was my student loan payment, it felt like this endless cycle going nowhere. Anyways, oh my God. I was so depressed. I was so unhappy. I was so mad at myself for so long. I missed out on so much time because of how angry I was at the situation and at people involved, but also angry at myself. Sometimes I feel like I can't regret that choice of being angry, because that anger fueled the flame to make my life what it is today and to get so serious and save every dollar and work my butt off and blah, blah, blah. At the same time, sometimes I look back and I'm like, damn, most of your 20s went to you being sad about money. And most of your 20s went to resentment and feeling depressed, which, I mean, depression is not an on and off switch. I couldn't just flip it off and be like, oh, okay, I'm happy. I'm fine with being in 6 figures of debt and blah, blah, blah. But that came with what I went through. I think I'll always be sad that I lost so much of my 20s to money, specifically the financial decision that I made that destroyed everything. But I just wanted to share this message with you. If you are in a similar situation where you are just so mad at yourself for the financial mistakes that you made, or if you just wish you could do anything to go back in time and redo that decision you made or the choices you made that led you into the financial situation you're in now. As a financial coach, I obviously work with a ton of people who are in really bad financial situations, or they have a ton of financial regrets, or they wish they started sooner, like their journey to turning their finances around. They wish they started sooner. The one thing I always tell someone, and this is so important for you to remind yourself, is that you have no control of going back in time and undoing that choice you made, but you have total control of what your life looks like moving forward. Every single one of us wishes we could go back in time and slap ourselves and say, you're about to ruin your life making that financial decision. Please don't do it. Please do X, Y, and Z differently so you don't end up in the situation you're in. Every single one of us wants to do that, but we can't. I, for so many years, kept saying, I wish I never went to that school. I wish I decided to go here instead. Maybe I wish I didn't even go into the pastry arts at all. And as I became more financially stable, which improved my mental health, which I feel like helped me think a little more clear, Bradley, you could say 100 times, I wish I could go back in time. It's never going to happen. What's done is done. The financial situation that you ended up in, you ended up in. You have no ability to go back in time and undo it, but you have 100% control and the ability to walk a new path and create a path for the future that you want for yourself. I think it's okay to grieve and feel down or negative about the financial situation that you're in because you're human. There's no way I could have been in my early 20s and found a positive spin on being in 6 figures of debt for a useless degree that everyone encouraged me to get. I was unhappy. I was depressed. I was going through it. And there would have been in my opinion, there would have been no way that I could put a positive spin on it and be like, well, at least you're alive. It's okay to keep it real with yourself and be like, this sucks. This isn't good. I wish I did things differently. But what I'm trying to say is, you constantly doing that to yourself is not going to get you anywhere. It'll be worth so much more of your time and your effort to tell yourself, I can't go back. I can't take back the mistake that I made. But today, right now, I am in control of my life. I am in control of my finances, and I'm in control of the potential for my life that I have moving forward. So many of us were misled as kids, or we weren't protected by our parents to teach us about finances and making good financial decisions. I always wanted an apology from my parents. Okay, I'm going to end it with this because this is really important. I have parents who feel like they did nothing wrong in the situation that happened, as if me at 17 years old was supposed to be more aware than adults in their 40s. And for so long, because I was so angry and I was so upset with the situation, I always wish they could have seen my point of view and apologized. As I started to become more financially stable and in a better place, and my finances were turning around and I was finally starting to see all of my hard work and dedication pay off, I told myself that is the apology that I am giving to myself that I will never get from them. Do you hear what I'm saying? You becoming financially stable, you digging yourself out of whatever financial nightmare you're in, you taking hold of your finances and maybe being the first person in your family to actually win with money, that is your apology that you will never get from them. I realized as time went on, me turning my life around, me taking accountability for my finances, me building an emergency fund, me improving my mental health and making my financial dreams come true, that is the best apology that I could have gotten, and I gave it to myself because I was never going to get it from them. I feel like this kind of turned into 2 different conversations, but I would say if you struggle with that feeling of resentment or feeling like your parents failed you financially or they didn't teach you anything or no one in your life looked out for you in terms of finances or explaining to you how to make good financial decisions, you taking hold of your finances and turning your life around and becoming financially stable is the only apology you need. And it's going to happen from you doing it yourself and you giving it to yourself. It's better than any sorry that you could get at this point, because sorry doesn't even pay the bills from what I've learned. So, but I of all people know the weight of struggling financially and financial trauma and drowning in debt and not making a lot of money. But I've also seen what happens when you believe in yourself. You make good choices. You develop discipline. You don't give in to overconsumption. You take hold of your life because no one's going to take hold of it for you but you. It's so easy to fall into the negative, and I did for so long. Try to reframe your brain to say, I can't go back in time, but I have total control of the path that I walk on moving forward. I have total control with the decisions that I make and the financial choices that I make from here on out because now I know better. I didn't know better at 17. And even though that sucks and it's so unfair that no one looked out for us, we now look out for ourselves and we now are learning to do better and make better decisions and educate ourselves so we can become so much more than what we thought we could be growing up. I swear to God, it was like a bright sunny day and my mom and I, this was like me in high school. So I was probably like 14 or 15 years old, literally 14 or 15 years old. I can't believe my mom said this to me. I think I was talking about how I was upset that my mom and dad fought about money. And because they always fought about money in front of me. And I swear I said something like, well, I'm sure the people up the street don't fight about money because they lived in nicer houses up the street. And mom said, Bradley, everyone struggles with money. You will never have enough money this is just normal. It's normal for people to fight about money and be stressed about money, which led me to then go to college because I thought getting the college degree, like everyone told us in the 2000s, was going to be your ticket to a life out of that, only to then put myself into that. But I'm so glad after ending up in my student loan situation that I didn't listen to that mindset, because I could have. I could have been exactly what I saw growing up, to be the victim, to be the woe is me, to think it's never going to get better, to think this is just what life is. And if I say no to things, if I don't give in to overconsumption and I'm just grateful for the things that I have, maybe I have the chance that I can live a life where I'm not stressed about money. I'm not struggling about money. I don't have to fight about money. And I did it because I created my own path. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. No matter how misled you've been, no matter how failed you've been, no matter the bad mistakes you're made, even no matter how bad your financial situation is right now, you can do different starting now. You can do different starting today. You are in the driver's seat of your finances. You are in the driver's seat of your financial future. I just wanted to share this message because I had some folks at my financial coaching job that I coach, and they were just struggling with that. They were saying, oh, I wish I started saving money sooner. I wish I never got into that car. I wish I didn't accumulate this credit card debt. Totally feel you. I agree. It's such a bad feeling, but we can't stay stuck in the past. We have to find a way to move forward. We have to change our mindset. We have to make good decisions. That's it. Hopefully this was helpful. I love you guys so much. Can't believe I cried. Oh my God. It was bound to happen at some point, right? So I know you guys who make it to the end of the video, you always like the little comment. I love that we started doing that. You guys are so cute. I love you so much. So what should we say in today's end of the video comment? What should it be? How about if you made it to the end of the video, comment Budget Baddie Gang, because you guys are the Budget Baddies and we're a gang, obviously. So yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, comment Budget Baddie Gang. And oh my God, wait, am I going to get sued from Alex Cooper? Because what does she call? Oh, she calls them the Daddy Gang. Whatever. I call you guys the Budget Baddies, but for the sake of making it to the end of the video, comment Budget Baddie Gang, that I know you watched through to the end, which I really appreciate. I love you guys so much. I'm so endlessly grateful for you. I just can't say it enough. I was filming a video yesterday in public, and oh my God, this is so funny to end the video with this. So a Jeep drove by, and then the Jeep turned around and drove up to me. And this girl rolled down her window and she was like, "Are you Bradley?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And she came out of the Jeep. I guess her mom was driving. So she came out of the car and we talked for like a minute. We took a photo. It was just so cute. I wish I could meet every single one of you. I love you guys so unbelievably much. I can't even begin to tell you. You've made my life so special. I love sharing my life with you, and I'm so grateful that you share your life with me and you take the time to watch my content on TikTok, or you sit through the podcast, and I just love you guys to the moon and back, and I'm so endlessly grateful. So I love you. You enjoyed the episode. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.